Here's the Fort Worth Can-Do Rally on Scenery Hill on September 24th, 2005. And we're here to get informed and make a statement about gas well drilling in our neighborhood and in Fort Worth in general, about the problems that gas well drilling might cause or is causing. Here is Scenery Hill Road at the corner by De Los Santos house, and some of our signs that Fort Worth Can Do put up, our tent and the people that we have. Here's where we are, Scenery Hill Road in Barnett, West Meadowbrook neighborhood. Here's a little farther back. There's the skyline from right at the corner. We're right adjacent to Channel 5 NBC. Interestingly enough, they haven't sent anyone to cover our event just yet. We're hoping they will. Here we are at the curve of Scenery Hill Road, De Los Santos Yard to the right, and our informational rally area. There's a sentiment that I wholeheartedly endorse, and that as well. Especially if it's too close. Some signs on De Los Santos fence.
Oil floating on top of salt water in these two big tanks, and they didn't come after it soon enough, and the tanks ran over. But, and also, there's something else. They come out there 24 hours a day, sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning, they wake me up on the big trucks, 18-wheelers, hauling about 200 barrels a day of salt water that comes out with the gas. They have a separator there, it's about 8 feet tall. Separates the gas. The gas goes in the pipeline, goes to the refinery. The water goes in these two big tanks, and they come in there, these big 18-wheeler red trucks, and haul that thing on and off. It produces about 200 barrels a day. So there's the pollution and noise for you. Where are these trucks going to come? You know, if they drill one right out here, which they can, they'll be coming right through the neighborhood. And I'm wondering how they make that turn. Well, they may send 2 shorter trucks, but they'll do it. They'll take that salt water off. They have 7 wells altogether on about both sides of the fence. I'm an investor in oil and gas. All my wells, every last one of them produces salt water. Various degrees. I've got one that produces about 10-15 barrels a day. I've got one that produces 70 barrels a day. This one, I can't believe it produces, approximately 200 barrels a day. And there's a diesel engine running 24/7, and it produces, of course, pollution and black soot coming off the diesel. Well, actually, I'm sorry. Let me back up. It burns the natural gas, so it doesn't produce much pollution. Give them credit where credit's due. What I was thinking about when they're drilling and they rev up the engine to bring the pipe up to put on another piece of pipe, you'll see so it wouldn't sound quite this loud. Probably is these little colorways of the house. Here's what it sounds like.
We're a newer neighborhood, but we got the same thing you have. We've got a lot of open land around us. We're just starting to develop out there. And we had a 17-acre tract directly behind my property that got leased for a well. And surveyors came out there and determined that they could put that well site exactly 628 feet from our existing houses, and thereby getting under the high impact ordinance would allow it to go before city council approval. 600 feet to 628 feet with the margin of safety, they were able to put that well in. Exactly. Every house around that little square point, three sides of that property, 603 feet inside the nearest fence line. So the margin of error is just from the fences, it has to be to the building to make it high impact. Low impact on the safety margin as far as people thinking that a gas well goes into the ground and it goes boom like it does down in Houston. People got to understand what the Barnett Shale is. It's a rare type of gas, natural gas pocket, and until just a few years back they didn't have the technology to go in there and get this gas very economically until they discovered horizontal drilling, which now they can go in there and make these wells quite profitable. And if there is any land that's within a house under 600 feet in the city of Fort Worth, you may be facing a gas well in the future. They want to poke as many of these straws in the ground as they possibly can. Price of gas, if people haven't known, when they put the first wells in inside the city of Fort Worth, it was going for about $6 per 100 cubic foot of gas. It is now, just last week, I think it was $13.65 per 1,000 cubic feet, and the price is going to go up with the hurricanes that have impacted the gas wells in the Gulf. So we got a very profitable product in the ground, and these people are going to come in and try to put as many straws in as they can. High impact, yes, for 23 days, 24/7 by the screeching of metal against the ground, because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like grinding metal 24/7 for 23 days on our well site. City ordinance right now says during the drilling process, they measure the gas well operation 85 decibels at any time of the day. 85 decibels right now in the daytime is probably what you were hearing over there from those people playing the drums. Imagine them playing the drums at 3 a.m. 24/7. You call the Fort Worth police and you get them to shut up. You cannot get these gas well people to shut up. Right now, the city of Fort Worth does not have a good ordinance for enforcement of that. Our neighborhood patrol officer bought at his own expense a decibel reading meter and went out there and nightly took readings from that well operation. 83 decibels, most of the readings, just under the required ordinance level. He finally caught them at, well, they do have spikes, like the night they dropped about 12 50-foot lengths of pipe at 3 o'clock in the morning. Made everybody wake up. But 85 decibels, they finally got them at 89 decibels from 2 locations from the well site. He asked his sergeant if he could write a citation to the site manager, and they said, we don't know if that's legal. Nobody knows right now who you give the citation to at the time of the occurrence.
Do you know who has the leases?
There are probably right now 20 major players and minor players in the Barnett Shale. There's probably more than that.
Do we know who they are?
Yes, you can find out some of them. Hollis Sullivan, what's that gentleman? There's 3 or 4 major energy groups, and then there's all different contract drilling companies. 4.7s is a big one. We got two more wells. Our area from my home, over the next year, they have proposed up to 12 wells within a mile and a half square. Right now, we've only got 3. So I'm looking at 9 more wells within a mile and a half square. So, I mean, you standing from this location, if you look around, imagine a dozen wells in the neighborhood. Another thing this ordinance allows is they only have to permit the first well. Once they get that permit for the first well out here, they can come in and get an automatic permit for any other well. So my guess is when this first well goes in, it'll be within probably the 600 feet of these homes, and then every other well they decide to put on this 50+ acres out here will be automatically permitted. So you are looking at high impact. I drove through the neighborhood here, and it's been a while since I've been out here. I don't know how those rigs are going to get down these streets. They're bringing the equipment. No. What they will do is what happens is they're trying to come in on the undeveloped land. Church is the landowner in the mineral rights owner.
They're over south of Lancaster Street,
Are they aware of what the deal is?
Sure. Sure, they signed the lease.
Huh?
Sure, they signed the lease.
We'll talk to them. And are they part of the Southwest Baptist Seminary? Baptist Church? It's a Baptist church. I just, my thing is that as long as you fight, that's what it is. It's a fight. If we talk about, my understanding was that this is a nature preserve. So, it's not to me that's what's got to happen, is to really help them see what they're doing for the environment.
Because it means a lot of millions of dollars for the city of Fort Worth over the 30 years that they're going to be here. And frankly, your interest in your neighborhood is going to be secondary to the interest of that money unless a lot of people start screaming and hollering. There's a lot of neighborhoods that don't even know yet what's about to happen to their neighborhood.
Go to any public library, they have a glossy brochure talking about how your tax dollars are going to be enhanced because of all this drilling, and it's not going to involve the environment at all. It's been printed by the city of Fort Worth.
So the Baptists...
I agree with that. They have bought into this, but I don't know any of them. I invited my city councilman to spend one night at my house. He declined after coming out there and hearing the well for an hour.
one reason the Second Hill Baptist Church is doing what they do, they have tried several times to sell it. Tried to get an auction one time, and the best offer they could get is friendly to the neighborhood, because the neighborhood has not always been friendly to their attempts to sell.
I think that the reason for that is the neighborhood association didn't want this to become another Woodhaven.
I understand. But I mean,
Apartments, cheap
yeah,
apartments.
But so maybe could they buy it and it be dedicated as a nature preserve? Would they sell it and understand? I mean, my understanding is that's why the temple, that if in the Baptist tradition, if somebody opposes, then they can't do that. So somebody could go join the church and oppose.
if somebody had been willing to come up with $600,000 or so, and they wanted to have an auction, well, they could buy it.
But maybe they would sell out knowing that it would save the environment. Maybe some groups could buy it.
It'd probably be too short now. The lease agreement is a legal document. They probably leased that land for a certain period of time, and that gas well company probably already has the right to put that well on there according to that agreement. And anybody that would, even if you could come in and buy that land, if you had enough people that wanted to buy that land, they'd be bound by that mineral rights agreement.
That's
So,
right.
can you say something about the health problems that it's going to cause to people, and do something about the kind of impact it's going to have on our air quality, and get the...
Those are a lot of unknown factors still, and you know, I would hate to say that I'm any kind of expert in those realms, but I will speak to one of the subjects that I know you people are near and dear to, and that's wildlife. We used to have all kinds of beautiful wild birds, and neighbors that in our open fields used to put up bird feeders and wild bird feeders, and the wild birds used to come up to the houses and feed, and people could view the wildlife and the birds. Since that well went in, nobody's fed a bird. I wish they could put a well in downtown Fort Worth, Texas, and we could get rid of cackles.
There you go.
Amen.
But you know, it seems to work. It only took 23 days to chase our you know, migrant birds out of there. Our fields used to be a big place for the butterfly moths that used to migrate, and it used to be beautiful to watch them fly off the fields in their migration route, and we ain't got that no more either.
Yeah, this Tandy Hills is actually one of the main stops for monarchs.
Yeah, monarchs, that's what I was talking about. And on the west side we had the same thing. We had open fields and a lot of land. When I first bought out there on the east side of Chapel Creek is the first exit outside going toward Weatherford after you get outside the loop. Land didn't get developed for a long time because of the water out there. There was no infrastructure for water out there except for the West Point area. But all that land south of West Point was all open land for so many years. And stayed that way. When we first moved out there, there was one little subdivision of about 48 homes that was being built, and I had cattle all around me. So I felt like J.R. Ewing sitting out there, and I didn't even have to take care of the critters, but it was nice. But that's all going to change. Fort Worth is going to grow. We've got a city council over the last couple of administrations that wants to see Fort Worth grow at all costs, at any cost, whether it's good for neighborhoods or not. Besides gas wells, I'd ask people too to go to this city council in this city and stand up and say, look, if you're going to develop this, slow it down and let's do quality development for a change, and stop letting developers come in here and build what they want to build in our city.
I think what a lot of people don't realize that as this development continues, that open land like this is actually going to become more valuable as open land. Because it helps enhance the quality of life for the city as a whole, and a lot of people just forget about that, and so we need to keep that in front of our mind, that we don't want to all live in a concrete canyon somewhere. We need some open space. We need something to oxygenate our air. And
Fort Worth already has the worst tree-saving ordinance in the whole state of Texas. We're at the bottom of all the large cities. And because there was a lot of noise recently about tree cutting in East Fort Worth, they're finally starting to think about it. But it just takes a lot of noise. We're at the point now where we can't be nice. We have to be loud and obnoxious. That's what I think, to get attention. Because there's so much money talking loud on the other end.
You know, I do want to say that single-handedly, I saved 600 trees over there at Walmart by going and talking to Walmart and appealing to them, and the city wouldn't do anything. So instead of cutting down 1,000 trees, they only cut down 400, and they replanted a lot. So I think that we could have hope that if we had a plan for this and really looked at the options and went to the people, went to the Southwest Baptist Seminary, got organized, and got loud and spoke about it. There with it, being consistent with it. I mean, maybe we could have a regular vigil out here and start talking to the people that own the building or the land, and start consistently having somebody at city council every single time. I really think that nonviolent action can be really effective, and that doesn't mean not being resistant and clear and having things in the paper and being down, becoming a part of it and seeing that we're all one in this rather than separate and those guys and us and them. I don't think will ever work. I think we have to come together and one, show the city that they have a lot to lose to make the air quality worse by putting drilling in here. So they need to be educated, and then we need to stand firm and really, really organize ourselves in a way that stays very consistent and clear about, you know, what are their grandchildren going to say? My granddaddy was so stupid he built a well out here. You know, I mean, that's a real thing. That's happening on this planet as we speak. And a lot of people who are inheriting wells are saying, close them up. I don't want to get my money from wells. So I think that's the other side, is when you educate people and they realize what kind of damage they're doing, sometimes they think about it. And that not everybody is just in it for the money. So that's what I think.
Thank you.
I just want to say a few things. Like, I'm Jared Manos, I'm director of Great Plains Restoration Council, and like this guy was saying here, a lot of places, a lot of cities have more open space, but Fort Worth is losing it. At one point there was 1.3 million acres of Fort Worth Prairie, but there's only 60,000 left, and 30,000 of those are slated to be developed, including that big space of the Walsh Ranch you're talking about. And I think that it's not just only for humans, but as our sense of participation within the whole ecosystem. I mean, the animals, the birds, the water, that all those have a right to be here and live and prosper into the future also. I think that the quality of life is not where it could be, but also people, like you say over here, people feel like they have no chance to do anything. They feel totally like overwhelmed by Halliburton or whatever. By the way, they get some more contracts. They're all excited, you know, with the 2 hurricanes. But anyway, if people do work together, and we're trying to create a park out here, and maybe educate people along the way of creating like a sustainable city. If you want to check out something what some other people are doing, go to ecocitybuilders.org. It's out in California. They're trying to actually make green cities, and like where you have everything connected. It's not just separated. The watershed connects you to outside protected lands, and also trying to get away from fossil fuels, more sustainable development. We would like to see at least 20,000 acres of Fort Worth Prairie contiguous and protected, a wildland where you could go out there, and maybe you had a crappy day or whatever, you could just go and chill out, go take a walk, and you also will protect the... Sorry, I don't talk very loud. But I was out there, I just want to say I was out there towards where the Walsh Ranch is being developed, and I was looking down, poking around a creek, and I found this fossil clam shell. And then I was looking at it, I realized that you had life going on here for about 200 million years, one long continuous linear existence. And then I saw its development by Vista West. It was just rubble. There was nothing, not a single living thing. And that's what they want to do to all the rest of our soft virgin prairie, and we don't have much left. So I think